It is the last weekend of summer officially, and we are halfway through the high school football regular season. Welcome to Mercy Health Wapak VFW Field as Wapakoneta hosting Van Wert in this WBL clash. Good evening, everyone. Alongside Jerry Snodgrass, I'm Patrick Gamler. Looking forward to a great matchup tonight between these two teams. Wapak and Van Wert. Wapak off to a terrific start. Again, it seems like this is a common theme for Wapak. Van Wert, a little bit of a spotty start. They're trying to avoid losing 4 in a row for the first time since 2016.
Correct.
It's going to be hard for them to do that tonight, I think.
Yeah, it really is. I think very tough for them, and they got that opening game win, against Bryan, but, have dropped 3 straight, and that's been very, very tough on them, I think. But young, inexperienced a little bit, and, it's one game at a time.
As we take a look at the keys to the game, and we'll start with the visiting Cougars, what are they looking for? How can they escape Wapak Mercy Health VFW Field with a win tonight?
Well, number one is the football version of stalling. You control the ball on offense, and the more you can do that, you can keep a high-powered offense, a high-scoring offense off the field. 2, you got to be on the plus side of turnovers. And I think at this point in the season, you'll hear every coach say that. Turnovers are the big key in almost every game. And 3, this is going to be tough, and that's limit the big plays on defense because Wapak is a big play offensive team, showed it last week, and that is a big key for them.
Taking a look at Wapak now with their keys to the game, and this is a team that has really gone through their opposition. They haven't had a lot of close games so far. What does that look like tonight if they want to continue and move to 5-0 on the season?
Well, it may sound redundant, but again, they need to win the turnover battle. You can take a superior team and a favored team, and turnovers can just change that in an instant. 2, they want to control the line of scrimmage, and I think that's I love those offensive linemen. I love the defensive linemen, and the work they put in. They need to control that, and they have the ability to do it. 3, they have to wrap up and tackle on the open field. I think that's something they have really worked on this week that eliminates that big play defensively.
Those are your keys to the game. Homecoming tonight at Wapak. Will they bring home a win? We'll find out here in just a few minutes. When we come back, we'll have kickoff here between Wapak and Van Wert when we return on WOSN. About ready for football to get started. Tonight's scoreboard sponsor is Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken in Lima, Wapak, Delphus, and St. Mary's. Call Lee's for all your catering needs. Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken, where home style happens. And tonight's first quarter sponsor is B&B Auto Repair. Rely on Van and his team of expert technicians to provide excellent service. Call 419-738-8090. Ready to get started here from Mercy Health, Wapak VFW Field in Wapakoneta. Redskins getting ready to kick off to the Cougars. Both teams in white and red.
Makes it tougher for us.
Yeah. In case you wanted an extra challenge. Van Wert in the white tops tonight. And how about a nice return there, getting things started. Case Stegeman bringing that out to around the 35-yard line. And that is where the Cougars will start up on offense, led by Briston Wise.
I'm really interested in this, too. When I talked about the turnover battle, that both teams, need to win that turnover battle. And the other part of that is the need by Van Wert to control the football. There's nothing better, when you're outmatched and, you're playing against a favorite on their home field. If you can control that ball, you can really shorten the game.
Cougars will start up. Is past the 35, and we'll have the handoff here to get things started just out across to the 39. Wise with the keeper.
You'll see Wise a lot in an open backfield, many times and run the ball. Ran the ball quite a bit last week against Defiance, and, he'll do that quite a bit.
92 carries and just shy of 600 yards for the season, so he is that prototypical running quarterback that we see a lot of in this area, and expect him to do a lot of that tonight. Pickup of 2 on that last play, 2nd down, and Wise fakes the pitch and gets out across the 40. in there on the stop. Brody Presser there for Wapak. And Presser, one of those guys leading the team in tackles. We're going to call his name a lot tonight.
Yes, we are. You know, that makes a manageable third and about almost 6, but still, you know, they want to control that ball. You know, you'll probably see him put it in the air to one of his favorite receivers here.
Looking at the sideline here on, as you said, third and manageable, 3rd down and 6 officially. Wapak looking like I think they were going to blitz. Looks like they're going to back off as Wise is getting it. Play clock down to 4. They do get this off. Wise, flushed out of the pocket, is going to tuck and run. Has plenty of yardage. He steps out of bounds at the 50-yard line. Good for a Laudex Jewelry first down.
And that's one thing about Briston Wise. He has good speed on the corners. Once you let him get around you, he'll get some yardage.
Roll first replay here, and you see him.
Tucks that and goes, and again, he's got that corner, he got that edge.
So back to live action. Wise is going to keep this one back to the line of scrimmage, and that is all. Presser, among others, in there on the stop. Also getting in there was Grant Hauser, number 85. And Ryan Walter, number 4. Go ahead, Jerry.
Well, that linebacker core, you know, of Bryson Pack, Brody Presser, Ryan Walter, very, very tough linebackers on that Wapakoneta defense.
Wapak has had pretty stout defense. They have outscored their opponents obviously quite a bit. Haven't allowed more than 21 points in a game. That was the very first week of the season. They beat St. John's Jesuit 35-21. Only 14 points the last couple of weeks. And this is Wise keeping it again. Breaks the tackle out across the 45, dragging defenders down to the 37-yard line where he'll be stopped. A Laudex Jewelry first down.
Again, he's dangerous on that. You know, and this one's more up the gut. But, you know, it's interesting. Last week in Wapakoneta's win over St. Mary's, big win, they had St. Mary's had a 14-play drive before Wapakoneta stopped them and then scored on the very first play they touched it. So, you know, again, controlling that ball, you know, which is Van Wert's goal, that's one thing, but you also have to make the stop on the other end.
Next play here, this will be a handoff going to Case Stegeman, and Stegeman picks up a couple there on first down. If you take a look at the roll first replay.
Stegeman's a hard runner with some very, very good speed himself.
5'9", 170, also a heck of a defender as well. One of the team leaders in tackles on this Van Wert squad. You know, make an interesting point, and I heard this from Mark Shine the other week talking about, you know, time of possession usually means, hey, you're doing pretty well, and that's going to lead to some good results, but that typically only means if you actually score points, which is kind of the inference there. Pass complete, staying in bounds. There is Zach Crummy with his 6th catch of the season, down to the 29-yard line.
And that's going to make that a very, very short, I believe, 3rd and about 1. Van Wert doing a good job right now of, you know, mixing the run, passing when they need to pass. Make that a long one, almost 2 yards for the first down.
Wise on the cusp of passing for 800 yards so far in the season. 6 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. Is going to keep this one on 3rd down, and it looks like he is going to have enough for another Laudex Jewelry first down. Indeed, he will. So, very efficient drive here in the first quarter for Van Wert, Jerry.
Yeah, so far, you know, taking quite a few minutes off the clock. I think both passes they've attempted so far have been complete, so the clock still runs, and I know we're in the first quarter, but still a big part of this. That's what they wanted to do coming into this.
And really, in a game like this, any positive momentum you can start if you're Van Wert is just going to help you that much more down in the long run.
You know, they're coming into this having lost 3 in a row, and you know, any of that positive momentum, as you just said, is so key. You know, I don't think sometimes people understand the momentum part of that and the emotional part of a game.
Wise across the 25 to the 23-yard line, and it's easier to keep it going than to get it going. So the quicker you can get it going, it seems like just everything just kind of stays better. It gives you more of an opportunity to stay in the game, particularly one where you look at it, and this is a matchup on paper where you think Wapak is probably going to win and win handily. But the Cougars off to a great start here so far. Wise on another carry, taking this out to the 20-yard line, and that is where he is stopped. Wyatt Buell in there on the stop, and along with Presser.
That's a good read that time by Briston Wise. Was going to hand that off, but he saw the right side of the defensive line going out with the running back and kept it himself and got a few yards out of it.
So 3rd down and 5 coming up for Van Wert. This drive that started on their own 35-yard line. Now sitting at their own 21.
And I'm sure they're in 4-down territory here too.
I think you might be right. Wise looking to pass. Flag comes out in the backfield as Wise dives across to the 16-yard line where he'll be stopped. And enough for a 1st down, but I think this one's coming back, Jerry.
Yes, it is. I think a holding call, and, it's really tough on the Van Wert offense to get that. Talk all the time about turnovers, but, boy, when you've got a 3rd and manageable and get that 1st down and you've got a 10-yard penalty on top of that, that's tough. That is tough.
So that was going to be a Laudex Jewelry 1st down, but that negates that run by Wise and backs Wapak up to the past the 30. I think the 31, I think, is where they will spot the football. So make it 3rd down and about 14. They'll say 15 on the scoreboard officially.
It's again, being in 4-down territory, they don't need to get that 14 yards on one play. And I think, they'll just try to, dink and dunk it out there somewhere.
Wise passing on 3rd down. There is the pass complete. Thought about the lateral. There did Keaton Welch, and he just keeps it and takes it down to the 22-yard line.
Yeah, I thought about it, and there's where pretty good discipline. Yep. Talk about turnovers. There would have been one.
Yeah, Stegeman was covered, so good idea to just catch it and hold it. Ball at the 24-yard line. They'll make it 4th and 7, so they got half the yards back, and they'll try and get the rest of them here on 4th down. Wise alone in the backfield, 5 wide. Wise back, pressure coming, flushed out of the pocket. Lets this one go. Pass incomplete, looking for Welch. Welch looking for a flag. It'll be a turnover on downs.
Yeah, give the defensive backs great credit on that. For Wapakoneta, everybody was covered.
Yeah, really nowhere to go with that football. Nice pass attempt there by Wise, trying to thread the needle. And looked like it was in a spot where really only his guy could get to it, but just too much coverage there. And Wapakoneta will take over with 5:04 remaining in the 1st quarter.
Yeah, that's where too, if you're Van Wert and you've controlled it most of the 1st quarter, you really want money out of that, and you didn't get it.
So Caleb Moyer will come out to lead the Wapak attack. 14 total touchdowns for Moyer on the season, and the pitch out to Caden Page to get things started, and he picks up a nice 6-yard gain.
I talk about, offensive linemen, those, I just love the effort that they put in, but you look at, Wapak on offense, and, you're looking at, a tight end of Grant Hauser who's so good, offensive tackle Mason Ludwig, Austin Van Royen, Layden Micko, and Chris Martin and Darren Hauser on that offensive line.
Moyer on 2nd and 3. Pass complete to Page once again. Out to the 40-yard line. A Laudex Jewelry 1st down. First one of the day for Wapak.
I saw Caleb Moyer play a couple of games last year. I was really impressed with him as a sophomore. Coming in as a junior, he has that game experience and just really, really manages that offense well.
Indeed he does. Now a fresh set of downs for the Redskins. Coming up on 4 minutes remaining in the 1st quarter. Moyer handoff to Jarrett Mullen. Mullen breaking a couple tackles and shoestringed at midfield down to the 49-yard line. Another Lotus Jewelry first down. Mullen showing some shifty moves on that play.
Yeah, that's what makes Wapak so dangerous right now. I think we had a penalty on that.
And we did have a flag. Yeah, it's going to be holding on Wapak. So that was a nice run by Mullen, but that will be negated by the penalty.
You know, look at that defensive line for Van Wert right now. Chance Young, Peter, Nick Edwards, Javon Smith. You know, very, very solid defensive line. 3 down linemen. Javon Smith at 6'2", 485.
We thought that was a typo when we first saw it.
We sure did.
And we looked out there like, nope, that's right.
Does a quality job in there, too.
Absolutely. I would not want to be the offensive lineman that has to line up against him for 50, 60 plays.
And you know those 3 defensive down linemen for Van Wert are all juniors.
Yeah. So they've all got one more year. So 1st and 20 for Wapak. And Moyer's going to keep it going to the left side and is tackled about the 33-yard line. Getting in there on the stop, Hayden Davis, number 27. Modest gain, about 4 yards on that play, second down.
Boy, Hayden Davis, had he not made that shoestring tackle on him, he had a lot of room to run.
Yeah, he absolutely did. You saw a lot of blocking there. Moyer was a nicely set up play. Davis getting in there and not really blowing it up, but keeping it from being a massive gain. Here's Moyer now on 2nd and 16. Rolling out, looking right, looking for Page, and has him at the 50-yard line. Pushed out of bounds at the 44. That'll be a Lotus Jewelry first down for the Redskins.
Great catch that time. Delivered the ball. Moyer delivered the ball very well on the run. But, boy, what a great catch, great hands by Caden Page.
Page found a gap in the defense, and Moyer hit him in stride. That'll move the chains to the 44 of Van Wert. Make it 1st and 10 as we're under 3 minutes here in the first quarter.
Empty backfield again.
Pitch. This is Mullen on the sweep. Breaks one tackle. And ball came out. They're going to say he was down.
That was a fumble. That looked like a fumble from here.
That's kind of what I thought, too. Here's a roll first replay. Let's take another look at this one, Jerry. And ball came out. That looks like Van Wert ball to me.
Nobody's coming up to look at the replay.
That's right. No, there's no red challenge flags. Keith Recker does not have one of those. But according to our roll first replay, that was a fumble and a recovery for Van Wert. In any case, Wapak maintains possession, 2nd down and 8.
I thought Mullen's expression on that made it look definitely like it was a fumble because before he was down, he was looking around.
Screen to Page, and he doesn't get very much on that. To the 40. Picks up a couple. And 3rd down coming up.
That's good open field, pretty much open field tackle that time. You know, they talked about limiting the big play, and so far they've been pretty good at that.
They've seen a couple nice tackles here from Van Wert. Open field, we've talked about a couple of plays that could have been big ones for Wapak, but the Van Wert defense has been there and has kept them from being those giant plays.
Well, you know, too, this point in the season, you know, you've got so much film on people, and, you know, you kind of change what you wanted to do to try to do everything you can to stop the opponent.
Moyer to Page once again at the 30, and that's going to bring a flag as well as the tackle applied by Donovan Winklejohn way there on the sideline. So that'll be a Lotus Jewelry first down, and I think half the distance. So that will move Wapak, I believe, all the way into the Owls Woody's Diner red zone.
You know, definitely a penalty, but at the same time, you know, I'll stand up for him a little bit when I say, you know, sometimes, you know, you're blocked. You know, he's got the guy in his arms, and he doesn't really know for sure where he's at, so he brings him to the ground.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not down there on the field with him, but sometimes it does look that way.
So that is the case. They will move that in and put the ball right on the 16-yard line. So into the Owls Woody's Diner red zone for the first time tonight. .117 here in the first quarter. Wapakoneta trying to get on the scoreboard first here in the first.
This is where the emotional part of things comes in too for our coaching staff. You know, you've played pretty well this first quarter. You know, and right now I say that tongue in cheek a little bit with minute 8 left, and you're still scoreless.
Official timeout. They asked the play clock to be reset. So now everything will run as we come up on the last minute. Moyer looking, pass is complete. Right to the 12-yard line. Grant Stauffer bringing that one in. That'll bring up second down.
Boy, you look at, Stauffer had an 80-yard TD last week against St. Mary's, and boy, those receivers have such great hands out there.
Indeed they do.
Although, Patrick, lately I've seen so many great catches by all the games I've seen lately. I'm wondering if it's their hands or the gloves.
We'll let you decide that at home,
right,
folks. Whatever you think in that case. I would imagine it probably depends on who you're rooting for. Here's Moyer on second down. Handoff. Looking at left side, it's Mullen lowering his shoulder and getting out to the 5-yard line. That'll bring up third and goal.
Or did they get a first down out of it? They did get a first down.
They did get a first down. Okay, so it's a Lodix Jewelry first down, and that'll make it first and goal. Wapak going to run one last play. I think they'll get this one off, down to 5 seconds on the play clock. Moyer having to make some adjustments. I don't think they're going to get this one off. They are going to call a timeout. Travis Moyer is going to call the side rail timeout.
Yeah, you don't like those timeouts when you're down to having to do it because of the play clock, but you only have 15 seconds left in the quarter.
We'll take it as well. It is no score. Wapak on the way here on WOSN. Welcome back. Tonight's instant replay is brought to you by Rural First, the leader in rural lending. Rural First can help you live closer to what matters. Tonight's timeouts are brought to you by the Side Rail in Wapakoneta, featuring signature burgers, appetizers, large portions, and specialty drinks. Open 7 days a week on Augley Street and online at thesiderailrestaurant.com.
Andre Longsworth came into the game, before that timeout, a 5'10", 190-pound junior for Wapakoneta.
Going to do some running, I would imagine.
I believe, yep.
Because Mullen has been replaced by him, and it's going to be Moyer keeping this one, and Longsworth helps him into the end zone for a Binkley Real Estate touchdown.
We'll see this here, right? Yep.
Moyer with the escort, and Wapakoneta strikes first, 6-0. Redskins on top. So Ethan Eisert will come in to attempt the extra point. 19 of 20 on extra points this season, and make him 20 for 21. It is 7-0 Wapakoneta over Van Wert. 11 seconds remaining here in the first quarter. We'll be back here on WOSN. Tonight's instant replay is brought to you by Rural First, the leader in rural lending. Rural First can help you live closer to what matters. And tonight's first down sponsor is Lodix Jewelry. Your family-owned and operated jeweler for over 70 years. Visit them at 1244 South Sandon Street in Van Wert or online at lodix.com.
My wife's birthday was this week and yesterday, so if they're open tonight, I should probably stop by.
Pick her up some jewelry on the way?
I sure should.
Might do a Binkley real estate reader here later on. Are you going to pick up some real estate for too? Happy?
No, my birthday's coming up.
Your
so
birthday's
that's for
coming
me.
up. All right. Swing by Al's Woody's Diner and some Binkley real estate.
Right.
We got Lee Kinsel reading there coming up here at some point too. Lee Kinsel sponsoring the extra points. One of those we just had. Van Wert fielding the kickoff out to the 25 as they will get their second drive of the game going. Both teams having relatively time-consuming drives. Van Wert not able to put any points on the board. Wapak able to convert, and that gives the Redskins an early 7-0 lead.
You know, and call me crazy, but I just think this is such a key time in a game. What, 5 seconds left in the first quarter? Yeah. You just gave up your first points. You've lost your last 3 in a row. The psyche of players, you know, just let's play. Let's play if you're Van Wert.
Wise on first down, quick pass, and stuck at the line of scrimmage. That was caught by Micah Cowan, and then Micah Cowan was caught by Jared Mullen as the first quarter comes to a conclusion. 7-0, Redskins on top of the Cougars. It's Van Wert football when we return on WOSN. Welcome back. Tonight's premier sponsor for the Wapak Redskins is Frost Roofing. Family owned and operated for over 96 years. Join the Frost family. They are an equal opportunity employer. Call 419-739-ROOF. And tonight's extra point sponsor is Lee Kinsel Chevrolet GMC on Irvin Road in Van Wert. Take a look at our pre-owned specials at leekinsel.com. Second quarter ready to get started here from Mercy Health Wapak VFW Field. Patrick Hamler and Jerry Snodgrass here with you. Wapak with an early 7-0 lead over Van Wert. Cougars with the football in their own territory. Wise with the carry and the stop, dropped behind the line, and that'll bring up third down and long.
Yeah, tough play. You know, right now there's just nothing there. If he'd have handed it off, that would have been snuffed out. So was the play up the middle.
So Wapak having a lot more success defensively than they did on their first drive, and that was a drive that ended on turnover on downs. But Van Wert able to advance the ball most of the length of the field. Here so far on this drive, Van Wert has not gotten anything. All they've done is move backwards. 3rd and 12. Here's Wise rolling to his left, letting this one go just off the mark. Was looking for Crummy there in the flat, and that'll bring up 4th down.
Oh, that was tough rolling to his left like that too, and made that a tough pass anyhow. And he would have been short of the first down had he caught it.
Indeed. So that'll bring up 4th down, and Van Wert's first punt of the night. Cam Wertz will kick this one off. Punt this one off, rather, I should say. Jared Mullen back to receive along with Caden Page for Wapakoneta.
And both of them are extremely dangerous on returns.
Nice high punt. Will be fielded at the 48-yard line, so Wapak will start in plus territory here for their second drive of the night. 45 seconds passed here in the second quarter. Our second quarter sponsor, B&B Auto Repair. You can rely on Van and his team of expert technicians to provide excellent service. Call 419-738-8090 for your auto repair needs.
Yeah, really good field position for Wapakoneta starting on this drive.
And again, kind of going with what you've been saying earlier, Jerry, is you find yourself in a position where, you had the momentum, you're Van Wert, and now Wapak's been able to push against that a little bit. They've scored. They've stopped you on a 3 and out. Now they've got the football back in relatively short field.
Yeah, I think we have a defensive encroachment on this. Just came across a little too early.
Indeed, you're right. So that'll make it 1st down and 5. And now you're thinking, if you're Van Wert, and I don't want to sound overly dramatic here, but if you're Van Wert, you're thinking you've got to stop them here. You can't allow them to score and go down 14-0.
And that's what I talked about, it being such a key point in the game, because you get down 14-0, and you don't like to look at the negative side of that, but at the same time, you get down 14 to 0, you really have to change a lot.
Yeah.
Playing catch up is tough, and it's especially tough against Wapakoneta.
Van Wert's last 2 contests, they've lost 42-14 and 41-14, and you start to think, here we go again. If you start to go down, here is Page on 1st and 5. Picks up about a yard on that play.
Really good job defensively by Van Wert that time of smelling that out and being right there for it. Same thing happened to them a little while ago, when Wapakoneta snuffed it out.
Yeah. Officially a gain of 1 on that play. 2nd down and 4 coming up for the Redskins. Ware came into the game just under 700 yards passing for the season. 8 touchdowns. Has not thrown a pick yet. Boyer will hand this one off on 2nd down, and it's Mullen cutting through the defense and going to take it all the way in for a Owls for a touchdown, a Binkley Real Estate touchdown, and it's 13-0 Wapak.
And there's that big play. Boy, great blocking up front by the offensive line. Just a tremendous job opening that up for Mullen.
Mullen takes that in, 40-plus yards for the touchdown, and it's a 13-0 Redskin lead with the Lee Kensel extra point coming up.
I give that touchdown to Mullen, but boy, oh boy, that offensive line just opened that up tremendously.
Indeed they did. And the ball to the official and hug a big guy. 14-0 Wapakoneta on top of Van Wert. We're back after this on WOSN. Welcome back. Tonight's Red Zone sponsor is Al's Woody's Diner, Wapak's best place for pizza, wings, subs, and burgers. Call 419-738-9111. And tonight's touchdown sponsor is Binkley Real Estate. Binkley Real Estate has an effective sales approach, effective marketing campaigns, and an extensive network that will get you results that move you. Effective drive for Wapak, ending in an extensive run for Jared Mullen, giving the Redskins a 14-0 lead here with 10:10 to go in the first half.
Well, so how do you get back in it if you're Van Wert? You just take your time. You don't panic and start throwing bombs every play. You just try to keep, as they wanted to do, and control the ball, and keep trying to, just get that first score. Only down 1 then at that point.
You have to remind the guys there are no 14-point plays in the book.
That's correct.
So you have to continue to do what you were planning to do. Stegeman bringing this one out from the 5, and a nice return, but going to be just shy of the 30-yard line. We'll take a look at this one again. Nice good recovery there.
Yeah, good recovery, good solid return. Found the hole, found the opening.
Looks like that's at the 28-yard line, and that's where the Cougars will start their next drive. Van Wert getting ready to rock and roll. Wise in the gun. Hands it off. Stegeman stretching it out on the left side and down to the 37-yard line.
Excellent read that time by Wise.
Nice read by Wise. Nice run by Stegeman.
Yes, very nice run by Stegeman.
9-yard pickup on 1st down, 2nd down and 1 coming up. And as they like to say, the playbook opens up on 2nd and 1. Interesting to see if the Cougars take advantage of that or if they just do something quickly just to move the sticks. Three receivers wide, 2 in the backfield. And this is going to be a keeper by Wise, easily across the 40 to the 43-yard line for a Laudex Jewelry first down.
And I can see the logic in that. They want to keep the drive going. They don't want to get in a third and we have to have it. So let's just go with the tried and true and let's get the first down.
So indeed they do. To the 43-yard line they go.
I think when you're ahead, that 2nd and short opens up the playbook a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
Open backfield, it looks like this time.
Indeed, you're right. 5 wide, Wise all alone in the backfield. Man in motion, and that is who is going to get the football. Micah Cowan taking it across the 50, down to the 45-yard line. Good for another Laux Jewelry first down.
Yeah, you know what? And if you're the coaching staff for Van Wert, you got to be Keith Recker's got to be happy with this. You know, coming back from a score that you gave up a big play, which you didn't want to do, but you're grinding it out, just methodically getting down the field.
Yeah, there really is no reason to panic or even really to stray from what you've been doing because you've had success with what you've been doing.
Correct.
It hasn't been stonewalled by the Wapak defense.
I think the one penalty there in the first quarter just really set them back, or they possibly would have scored then.
Wise in trouble there on first down, is going to be stopped for a 3-yard loss.
I think that was blown up in the backfield. The timing just wasn't there.
I think you're right. Braylon Walter getting in there on the stop behind the line. So that'll be 2nd down and 13 coming up for Wapak. Wise getting some signals there from the sideline. Play clock ticking down to 5. Wise back to pass, pressure coming up the middle. Wise getting away from it, lets this one go.
Had him.
Run and had him open. Just couldn't bring that one in. Keaton Welch, who was the intended receiver, and it'll be 3rd down.
Well, that came out hot too. I think that just made it a little tough of a catch. It's a hard throw. But I'm sure also that Coach Recker sees something in that. The offensive staff sees something that, he was open.
Yes, he was. Welch is one of Wise's favorite targets out there, 29 receptions. And now Wise on 3rd and long. Rolling, dumps it off of the 40-yard line. Pass complete to Nate Gerhardt. He's pushed out of bounds and around the 36-yard line and is going to be about 2 yards shy of a first down.
I think he stepped out where we were blocked because I thought he stayed in bounds, but we were blocked and he stepped out.
So he was, from where it looked like he stepped out of bounds, he was very close.
Correct.
They marked him about 3 yards past that where he did step out of bounds. And Van Wert going to go for it. 4th down and 3 to go. Wise rolling, pitch right up the middle. And the pass, shovel pass to the 35, and that is going to be good for a Laux Jewelry first down. Crummy, the recipient there, and able to move the sticks. Great play by Van Wert.
Great play, great execution. That's a tough play. You know what I mean? I think that's tough when you're pitching that into the. It would have been an incomplete pass, of course, but you're pitching that into the line. That's a defensive lineman's dream for an interception.
Yeah. When they practice football in the backyard, that's one of the plays that comes up. Here's Wise on first down. Pressure coming. Able to get away from it. Has a lot of green field in front of him. He's going to take advantage of it. Shifty moves down to the 19-yard line. That's going to be good for a Laux Jewelry first down, and that'll put Van Wert in the Al's Woody's Diner red zone.
Boy, give Wise credit on that because he saw that from the beginning that everybody was back and he had a clear lane.
That went from a play that was going to be, looked like it was going to be blown up in the backfield, and Wise going to be tackled for a loss, and it turns into a big gain for the Cougars, and they are in business with 6.5 to go in the second quarter.
What a great answer right now by Van Wert of controlling the ball, coming down the field.
Here's Wise going to keep it on first down to the 19-yard line, so back to the line of scrimmage, and that's it. Great answer indeed by the Cougars, and the question is, can they put the exclamation point on it by punching this one in? Host of Redskins in there on the stop on that play. It'll bring up 2nd down and 10.
You know, Patrick, I always, we're talking about we're in week 5, and it was about 90 degrees at game time, I think. A little less than that, but, I sure give the athletic trainers from both teams a big shout-out for everything they've had to deal with heat.
Wise stopped in the backfield. Braylon Walter with the TFL on that play, and that will bring up 3rd down and 11. Yeah, you're absolutely right. These hot weekends, these hot Fridays are usually where you see a lot of cramping, a lot of issues, and at least in the games that I've called, I don't know if this has been true for the ones you've called, but haven't seen a ton of that here over the first 5 weeks of the high school football season.
Did have the Lima Senior Findlay game a couple weeks ago, and there were more cramps in that game than I've seen forever. But yeah, I mean, of course, on the other hand, we're pretty blessed right now to have this kind of weather through week 5.
That is true. It is a balmy September weekend, and you don't say that very much here in Ohio. And we're going to have a timeout as Van Wert is going to talk this one over. A side rail timeout. We'll take it as well. 4:52 left in the first half. Redskins up 14 here on WOSN. Tonight's scoreboard sponsor is Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken in Lima, Wapak, Delphus, and St. Mary's. Call Lee's for all your catering needs. Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken, where home style happens. And tonight's game is brought to you in part by Wright State University Lake Campus. Whether you're interested in an associate's or bachelor's degree, Wright State University Lake Campus offers something for you. Visit lake.wright.edu to apply today. 3rd and 12 coming up for the Cougars, trying to avoid a stalled drive. Wise letting this one go. Pass complete across the 9 to the 7-yard line. Good for a Laudex Jewelry first down.
What a great, timely play. Great pass and catch. So needed by Van Wert.
Cowan with the completion, and that will make it 1st and goal for Van Wert.
That was Micah Cohen on that reception, and boy, he had his hands on that, and he was not letting that get away.
And the backfield with Wise here on 1st and goal, and Wise is going to keep it across the 5 to the 4-yard line.
I loved what Coach Moyer's comments were, going into this game. They're working on their 4th consecutive WBL title. I didn't realize that at first. Mm-hmm. And he said, it's just another game. Now, he didn't use the word just, but he said, well, let me take that back. It's just another step. And he takes it one at a time, one play at a time. And I think, keeping kids focused that way, keeping players focused is such a key to success.
Wise thought about pitching it and gets swallowed up in the backfield, stopped at the 6-yard line.
He wanted to pitch it. Yeah, he wanted to pitch it, but he was covered.
Yeah, there really was nowhere to go with that ball.
Give the Wapak defense a lot of credit for defending that as well as they did.
But, Jerry, you're absolutely right as regards to Coach Moyer's comments. Like, you really have to have tunnel vision and give your kids tunnel vision and stay focused on, on the week that's in front of you and not get caught up in all that other stuff. And we've heard that from coaches. You were a coach for many years.
Right.
So I'm sure you've thought that. You've said that to guys like me over the years. But it really is true.
It is so true, yes. And it's harder than people think, to keep young kids. That's what they are. They're young kids, and to keep them focused. The other thing I thought he said, and I think this is a great tribute to the Western Buckeye League, when he said it's a grind from week 2 on. They only have one non-league, non-conference game, and he said it is a grind from this point on. So, again, I think that when that mindset is established with your coaching staff, it's established within your team, it spreads to the school and the influence around your team, and that's what makes you successful.
Wise, and this play will be blown dead as Van Wert will call their 2nd timeout, side rail timeout, as they want to talk this 4th down attempt over. 4th and goal with the ball back at the 3-yard line.
And Van Wert needs this score badly.
We'll take a timeout as well. 4th down coming up for Van Wert here on WOSN. Tonight's Red Zone sponsor is Al's Woody's Diner. Wapak's best place for pizza, wings, subs, and burgers. Call 419-738-9111. Van Wert in the Al's Woody's Diner Red Zone. 4th and goal coming up at the 3-yard line. Wapak trying to stop Van Wert again on downs, ending another Cougar drive with no points. Van Wert trying to climb back into this one. Don't want to say they're out of it, only down 14 with plenty of football ahead of us, but you have to feel like that if Van Wert is stopped here and Wapak scores again, it's getting pretty dim already for Van Wert.
You know, you've driven this far, you've controlled the ball this long, you've got to come up with points.
4th and goal. Wise goes into motion, looking for a hole in that right side. Stopped at the goal line.
Scored.
And gets in for a touchdown.
What an effort. What an incredible effort.
Second effort there for the Binkley Real Estate touchdown. Lowered the shoulder and got it in.
Boy, what a hit at the goal line, right short of the goal line.
That was about as close as they get, as he was hit right there at the goal line and got just enough for the touchdown, and that puts Van Wert on the board.
What a drive, what a touchdown, how timely.
Griffin McCracken with the extra point, and the Lee Kensel extra point is good. 14-7, Wapakoneta on top. Van Wert has cut the lead in half here on WOSN. Tonight's extra point sponsor is Lee Kensel Chevrolet GMC on Irvin Road in Van Wert. Take a look at our pre-owned specials at leekensel.com. Van Wert moving down the field and converts on a 4th and goal to cut the Wapak lead in half, 14-7. Plenty of time left here in the second quarter, however, for Wapak to go down the field, particularly when their last drive didn't take a lot of time at all because of a Jarrett Mullen 44-yard touchdown run.
Well, you know, too, and that touchdown, you know, is big in so many ways. You know, one, they answered the score, you know, by Wapakoneta. 2, they maintained possession that whole time. They were able to drive down the field, you know, even in some tough situations, and got the points.
A much-needed touchdown for Van Wert. Again, alluding to what you said there, Jerry, make sure that they can feel good at least about heading into half. And trouble with the kickoff, recovered by Wapak down to the just shy of the 25-yard line. Mullen bringing that one in. So that's where Wapak will start their next drive, and I would imagine there is no thought of just killing the final 2 minutes and going to half.
So.
I think that they're going to try and see if they can put one more on the board here, try to get that 14-point lead back before halftime.
Yeah, and if you're on the other side of the ball, you're at Van Wert saying, you know, they are a big play. Wapakoneta is a big play team. You know, be cautious. You know, I say that you don't like to play cautiously, but, you know, be in position, stay home, you know, at those safety spots.
You don't want to sell out in situations you don't have to. Moyer fakes the handoff, swings it out to the homecoming king, Grant Hauser. Out to the 26-yard line, picks up a yard.
And what a great tackle.
Good stop there. Only picks up 2 officially.
Micah Cowan does about everything, you know. It's a great stop defensively that time.
Ball on the 26. Moyer looking to pass once again. Pass bobbled and caught. This is Hauser once again out to the 37-yard line. Good for a Laudex first down.
I think Van Wert will say, well, you know, we'll give you that, you know, but we're not going to give you that big play. But now it's, you know, clock management.
Minute 30 left in the first half. 5 wide. Moyer once again looking for Hauser once again. Has been his guy on this drive out to the 49 and another Laudex first down. Redskins picking up the pace on this drive. Clock stops while the chains are moved into position.
Well, you kind of forget a little bit that Grant Hauser at 6'5", 220, or 6'6", 235. Pretty big target out there.
Indeed he is. Moyer alone on first down. Pump fake. Plenty of time, lets this one go, looking long, has a man, and incomplete. Looking for Grant Stauffer and had him, just couldn't make the connection.
Cougars are breathing a sigh of relief on that one. I talked about that big play, and there it almost was.
You look at the row of first replay here, Moyer buying time with his feet.
Wow.
And Stauffer had his man beat. That was a guaranteed touchdown. Just couldn't bring that in.
That's tough when you're in the defensive backfield like that. You think your guys got him, in the backfield, and uh-oh.
So 2nd down and 10. Moyer back to pass. Once again, great protection. Yeah. Great protection by the Wapak line.
Look at that line.
Look at that line day. Block. Flag coming out. Looks like it's going to be holding. Moyer's going to take off and run with this one. Steps out of bounds around the 30-yard line, but I have a feeling, Jerry, this one's going to come all the way back.
Well, you go that long with it, there's bound to be a hold somewhere in there.
2 flags.
Wow,
on the play.
Look at that blocking, though. That's tremendous form blocking.
The Chicago Bears' Caleb Williams was watching this. He was tearing up a little bit looking at that kind of protection.
Jarrett Mullen even in there, stayed in to block and did a great job of it.
So a couple of flags on that play, both signaling holding, so that's going to back the Redskins up. Waiting to see officially where they move him to. I think they're probably going to back him up to the 39-yard line. So that'll make it 2nd down and 20.
Be interesting here to see if they just grind it out and they can use the clock up if they want, or they can try for more.
45 seconds. Here's the handoff to Mullen, and Mullen is going nowhere. The Cougars with the stop in the backfield. Will bring up 3rd down and 23. Just nowhere to go on that play.
Well, if you're Van Wert and you can hold on this down, you're going into that locker room pretty fired up.
And that might be it. Play clock has not moved, and down to 16 seconds remaining, and Travis Moyer and the Redskins, they might they're just going to call it here. So that will be it for the first half of action here from Mercy Health Wapak VFW Field as the Redskins have a 14-7 lead heading into halftime. We'll be back to talk it over here on WOSN. Welcome back. Halftime activities here from Mercy Health Wapak VFW Field. Wapakoneta with a 14-7 lead over Van Wert here at homecoming. Patrick Hamler, Jerry Snodgrass here with you as we take a look at the first half, reviewing the first half. And, on paper, this looked like this was probably going to be a pretty handy win for Wapakoneta, but Van Wert, to their credit, has executed very well, and they're only down a touchdown here halfway through.
And I think that's what it boils down to, the execution. I think that's something Van Wert has done very well. I heard, Nick Saban say once, what's it take to break you? What's it take to, happen? What happens that you can't rebound from it? And that's something I think Van Wert tonight so far, they gave up that quick touchdown. It's 14-0. They were ready to break. A team would be ready to break. They didn't. They grinded out a drive, scored. They're going into halftime very confident.
Yeah, as we said, it would be very easy to say, here we go again, if you're Van Wert, down
Correct.
14 points in the inevitable slide. But, credit to Keith Recker and getting his guys up and ready for this game. And now Van Wert only down 7. There's a half of football to play, and they've really been more foe than foil in this one tonight.
Yeah, at the same time, if you're in that Wapakoneta locker room, I'm pretty sure that Coach Moyer, has them refocused. And, boy, when they come out this second half, and I believe they do get the kickoff the second half, so they're going to be ready to go.
Yeah, Wapak will receive the football to start the second half. And when you look at how both teams did, it really was more execution offensively than any particular mistakes on defense. As you look at really both sides, there wasn't anything glaring. There wasn't anything that anybody did. There was that big penalty that Van Wert had that really pushed Wapak into scoring range, into the red zone. But other than that, it's really been solid executed football both ways, and I think that's one of the reasons that this is only a touchdown game.
And I believe there have been no turnovers, and that was a big key from both teams. But those same times, those penalties or the mistakes, they can be big, and they've played pretty much error-free football so far, both teams.
Looking forward to more error-free football as we get ready for the second half, which we'll bring to you in just a few moments. Wapak on top 14-7 as we bring you the third quarter coming up here on WOSN. Welcome back. Tonight's scoreboard sponsor is Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken in Lima, Wapak, Delphus, and St. Mary's. Call Lee's for all your catering needs. Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken, where home style happens. And tonight's third quarter is brought to you by B&B Auto Repair. Rely on Van and his team of expert technicians to provide excellent service. Call 419-738-8090 for all your auto repair needs. Ready to get started here for the third quarter. Patrick Hamler, Jerry Snodgrass here, high above the field here at Mercy Health Wapak VFW Field. And it's been it's cooled down a little bit, but it's still kind of muggy out there.
Yeah, it's much cooler because this is air conditioned where we're at.
Yeah, we're nice and air conditioned in here. I'm sure where you're watching us, it is also air conditioned. Hopefully, it's air conditioned. But
and beautiful facilities here, by the way, too.
Absolutely. They've done a tremendous job redoing the press box here at Wapak over the last couple of years, and we are certainly thankful to Brad Rex and his staff for taking care of us and making sure we have all that we need as we are ready to bring you the third quarter of action here from Wapakoneta. And this one has, I don't know what the expectation was. I know on paper this looked like this was going to be just another stepping stone on Wapak's way to possibly another WBL title. Of course, Salina and Bath have something to say about that here in the next few weeks as well. But Van Wert has come out, and they've been gamers in this one so far, Jerry.
You know, they have been, and I think you'll see Wapak try to open things up a little bit more this half. They had some opportunities there. We saw that one pass, that long pass that was, I would say dropped. It was just beyond the reach, tough pass to catch, I guess, but, he was open. And I think you'll see a little bit more taking advantage of that this half by Wapakoneta. Van Wert just need to control the football when you get it, play good defense, and I think this possession is key for them.
It'll be Wapak who gets the football to start the third quarter. As we are underway here in quarter number 3, this ball is going to bounce out, was touched by Mullen, and then went out of bounds to the 4-yard line. So not the way that Wapak wanted this one to start out.
And exactly the way Van Wert wanted it to start out. You put them deep in the hole. Tough break for Wapakoneta.
And it's one of those where you're not exactly sure how to play it. Like, maybe it goes out of bounds and you get the flag, or maybe it just sits there and you're kind of stuck either way as a player. But in any case, it's a long field coming up for the Redskins.
Think of the yardage difference on that split-second decision, whether to try to field that or let it go out of bounds.
Yeah.
If it goes out of bounds, the yardage distance is incredible.
So typically you're starting around the 20, 25, maybe 30-yard line. Now you're all the way back at the 4. Moyer will take this one to get started, just trying to get a little space back there. Takes it down to the 7.
And really, the 3 yards were well earned on that. Got one down.
We've got a injury down on the field here. Hopefully it is just a cramp. We'll step away and take a quick timeout. 15 seconds gone by here in the third quarter. We'll be right back. Tonight's game is brought to you in part by Wright State University Lake Campus. Whether you're interested in an associate or bachelor's degree, Wright State University Lake Campus offers something for you. Visit lake.wright.edu to apply today. I think Christian Thatcher was the injured player. I think he was just maybe cramping up from what I could tell. He was able to walk off the field, and we're back to it here at 2nd down and 6. Moyer on the keeper and out across the 10, fighting for additional yards. Out to the 14 is going to be very close to a first down.
Yep,
and he has it.
Gave it to him.
Loddick's Jewelry first down. Able to move the sticks are the Redskins.
You can really tell, too. He's setting things up. Moyer's setting that up just a little bit. Probably see a long pass here pretty soon.
Go ahead, Jerry.
No, I'm just going to say that's been a couple carries by him on this series so far.
by a little space back there, and indeed he does. Here's the pitch to Mullen, and Mullen with some space finds a hole, and this is just going to be a foot race that Mullen is going to win. There's an angle there. Is he going to get there? He won't. It's a big-time touchdown for Wapakoneta, a Binkley Real Estate touchdown.
I think that's about an 86-yard run or so.
I believe you're right. Here's the rule of first replay, and I don't even think he was touched on that
No,
play,
he
Jerry.
wasn't. He did a good job of finding the hole on that. And that was set up so well by Moyer keeping on previous plays. Got everyone sucked into the inside, and that outside off tackle was open.
Here's the Lee Kinsel extra point. On the way by Ethan Eisert. It is up and it is good. Field position, field position.
Yes.
96-yard drive, and it's 21-7 Wapakoneta. 21-7. Tonight's touchdown sponsor is Binkley Real Estate. Binkley Real Estate has an effective sales approach, effective marketing campaigns, and extensive network that will get you results that move you. About a 4-play, 96-yard drive for Wapakoneta to start the third quarter, giving the Redskins a 21-7 lead.
Well, I'm sure one of the things Coach Moyer and the Wapakoneta staff talked about at halftime was execution. And that execution was perfect in each play of that drive.
All on the ground, most of it being covered by the 86-yard Jarrett Mullen touchdown run, his second touchdown run of the night. He goes over 100 yards carry on the evening. And now Van Wert taking the kick at the 5 as Stegeman will take this one out to the 28-yard line, and they will try and provide an answer to the Wapak long touchdown.
He came close to breaking that one, you know.
Indeed he did.
But this is another time where, Coach Recker just settle down, let's get one back. Not going to get it all on one play.
Not seeing any panic on the Van Wert sideline, and that's good. See how the Cougars approach this on first down. Wise hands it off. Cowan, and good defense as the Cowan tried to stretch that one out and just not finding any purchase there on the side. Noah Bishop in on the stop.
And the right side of that defensive line just spread that out so well, limited it to a 1-yard gain.
That's Grant Stauffer, rather, on the stop, gain of 1 on the play.
And you can see, too, that Van Wert they take their time. They want to shorten this game a little bit, sustain a drive.
Wise will take this one up the middle across the 30, out to the 33-yard line.
Puts them in a third and long here.
Cougars quickly back to the line. Wise by himself in the backfield. Wapak showing blitz. We'll see if they bring it or not. Bryson Pack bouncing around out there. Wise rolling out to his right. Uncorks this one. Complete.
I'm not sure.
Bounds.
Yep.
I think they're going to they'll give him the catch and the Laudex Jewelry first down. So enough to move the sticks.
And you really have to credit Van Wert. They have been very efficient. They've been very efficient on offense. They get in that third and long, and they're not going for 20 and 30-yard passes. They're going for just what they need, and that's just what they got.
I haven't really seen Van Wert throw any or really attempt any haymakers in this one. It's been, hooks and jabs and just trying to consistently move the ball down the field.
And they know to get away from that defensive pressure by the Wapakoneta front three. They've got to roll out. They roll out to the strong side.
Wise keeps this one and out to the 41-yard line, and that's it.
Since about early in the second quarter, Wise hasn't gotten that much on that keeper up through the middle.
Yes. So it's set up to a certain extent, the rollout. You've seen him get some success and be able to find some yards on rolling out and hitting guys like Welch and Cowan. But that, as you said, that run up the middle hasn't yielded a lot of yardage here in the last quarter and a half. And Wise swings this one out on second down, making a couple of guys miss there. Caden Collins.
And we're back to a 3rd and 5. So, again, they're keeping it manageable.
Out to the 46-yard line. That was Xavier Kelly. And 3rd down and 5 coming up for Van Wert.
I really do. I really like how Coach Recker and his staff have, attacked Wapakoneta. You know what I mean? They've done it, by not trying to get rich quick. They know they probably can't.
Wise options it out to the 49-yard line. It's going to be about I was going to say he was a yard short, but I think he's going to have enough. He does. A lot of truly first down.
And again, they're getting just what they need, not a whole lot more.
Yeah.
And again, sustaining a good drive here.
Did he get 3 downs to get 10 yards? Well, technically you get 4 downs to get 10 yards, and Van Wert has been doing exactly that on this drive and really in this game so far. 5 wide for Wise here on 1st and 10. Back to pass, and that one is going to, it was tipped at the line of scrimmage, incomplete.
We don't keep time of possession, but, it'd be pretty interesting really to look at that because of the length of time that Van Wert has had the ball.
Yeah, Van Wert hasn't had any quick strikes in this one. Their touchdown drive was long and sustained, and apart from, I think, 1 3-and-out drive that they've had, everything else has been a pretty long drive. Wapaks had 2 of their 3 touchdowns pretty quick. Wise pitches it out, looking for Cowan. Ball is loose, and it will be recovered by Wapakoneta. Yes. First turnover of the night. Here's a real first replay, and
he just wasn't ready for it, I don't think.
I think it just went right through his hands. So Ryan Richardson recovers it for Wapak, and as I said, the first turnover of the night. And if you're Van Wert, that's the last thing that you wanted to have happen.
Yeah, I talk about, what breaks you, and how this will be interesting to see how Van Wert, answers this.
Yeah.
Ready 2, take 2. Ready 1.
So Wapak with great field position. Ball at the 43-yard line. Moyer going to work. Play action. Looking long. Has Stauffer wide open. Caught at the 12 and takes it all the way in for a Binkley touchdown.
Those are just killers. You just had a turnover. You had a good drive going, and then on one play you give up a long touchdown.
Real first replay there, and Stauffer behind the defense, and near miss on a touchdown in the first half on a play similar to that. That time it is a connection. 43-yard touchdown pass, and the Lee Kinsel extra point up and coming. And up and good. Wapak pulling away 28-7. Redskins on top here on WOSN. Tonight's game is brought to you in part by Wright State University Lake Campus. Whether you're interested in an associate or bachelor's degree, Wright State University Lake Campus offers something for you. Visit lake.wright.edu to apply today. And tonight's premier sponsor for the Wapakoneta Redskins is Frost Roofing. Family owned and operated for over 96 years. Join the Frost family. They are an equal opportunity employer. Call 419-739-ROOF.
Well, Patrick, 14-7 lead instantly, just so quickly turns into a 28-7 lead, and very, very tough for a team to come back from.
So if you had taken an extended food and possibly bathroom break, a lot has happened here in the beginning moments of this fourth quarter as that ball, wow.
Well, we saw the same thing on the other end.
Yeah, exactly. And you thought from this angle, that was going to roll out of bounds.
Oh, no, he said it went out of
They're going
bounds.
to say it went out of bounds. Okay.
Good break for Van Wert on that one.
And a team desperate for a break at this point. Well, the officials are discussing it there at the 11-yard line. I don't know if maybe they're talking about whether there is a flag or. So they're talking through that. Wapakoneta scored 14 points here in the first 4.5 minutes of this third quarter through big plays. Had a 4-play, 96-yard drive, culminating in a Jarrett Mullen 86-yard touchdown run. And then following a Van Wert fumble, it was a 43-yard pass from Caleb Moyer to Grant Stauffer. And that has given Wapak a 28-7 lead.
No, they're calling this against.
I see they signaled that against Van Wert, didn't they?
I wonder if it's because he came out. He went out of bounds and came back in.
Kind of hearing that in the press box. I don't know if we have a Royal First replay of that or not, but officials seem to be.
Yeah, he didn't throw it until after he touched it. And that's why we thought it was,
What's he saying to go get it? Takes it right there.
So it sounds like he went out of bounds. I think they called it illegal touching, Jerry. So
yes.
He went out of bounds and he came back in, touched the football, and as a result, it's going to be half the distance against Van Wert. So that's going to put Van Wert back right there at the 5-yard line, just past the 5-yard line. So the Cougars with unfavorable field position to start this drive.
Yeah, what a tough break. You're caught right over there. You're caught whether to field that or not.
And so that's what we were talking about on the other side over here for Wapak. And looking, and the ball comes loose again, and I think Cowan gets on top of it. Reached his arms out and pulled that one in. As almost disaster striking again for Van Wert. Roll first replay. Yeah, just had that poked out. Cowan able to reach out and reclaim it. And in an area of the field where you don't need to back up, they are all the way back to their own 2-yard line.
I think one of these you're going to see the Redskins really, really go after it.
Probably ready for the Redskins to pin their ears back. Here's Wise just trying to get some space on second down. Gets it out to the 6-yard line, I believe. And then mark him at the 5. So 3rd down and 11 coming up for Van Wert.
Tough hole to be in if you're Van Wert right now.
Without a shadow of a doubt. Wise rolling, passing, hit at the 10-yard line as the pass is complete to Cowan.
Cowan did a great job of hanging on to that.
Indeed he did.
Yes, he did.
Jared Mullen in on the hit, and that will bring up 4th down, and Van Wert having to punt. Only their 2nd punt of the night. So Wapakoneta looking to get the football back in pretty good field position with around 6 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter. Nice snap. Gets the kick off. A nice punt fielded at the 48. And Mullen is dropped at the 44-yard line. So very similar position to where they started on their last drive following the turnover.
Yeah, good field position for them. This is a time, too. I want to say this. That's about the 5th time I've seen one player from another team help the other guy up. And usually they exchange a few words. And you can just tell they're not bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that speaks volumes. I know there are a lot of conferences around that do this. When I say do this, display good and great sportsmanship. And I will tell you, in the WBL, and you see this, I think it's a reflection of the communities. That they just, it's just what's expected out of players to be good kids. And you love to see that. I love to see that. Shout out to the schools for that.
Moyer rolling right on first down, looking for someone, and he is going to get sacked. A flag coming out way over the 25-yard line.
And that was a coverage sack because everybody downfield was covered.
So we'll see what the flag is all about. They're having discussions there. Currently a 2-yard loss on the sack. As we'll get the signal here upcoming on what the penalty is, and it's going to be defensive holding. So they'll get 10 yards, so that will turn a 2nd down and 12 into a 1st and 2. Not an automatic first down in high school football.
It's a tough thing for Van Wert. You just made a good play and good stop.
Swinging it out to Mullen here on 1st and 2 and out to the 29-yard line. I'm sorry, the 32-yard line. Good for Elotics Jewelry first down.
Good pickup. Boy, he got hammered once he caught it.
Here's the rural first replay, and yeah, good hands on that too.
Yes, he did.
Way to bring that in.
It's one of those for a receiver, that little short swing pass. That's tough because, you catch it, and there's a lot of times there's somebody right there to smack you.
That moves the sticks. Ball in the 32. Moyer looking, splits the defense.
Wow.
What a pass there, complete to Caden Page. Double covered and still makes the grab. Gain of 9 on the play.
Game of inches. Watch this as it goes right in that little crease.
So 2nd down and 2. As Wapak has come out passing on this drive. Looking to land the final blow on this one, even though half of their touchdowns have been rushing touchdowns. Here's Moyer looking long, and the pass incomplete. Looking for Page at the 5-yard line. Almost brought that one in, and a flag down at the 25-yard line. And I think we're going to see holding. Indeed, we will. So make that 2nd down and 11. So even if that would have been a completion, it would have been brought back.
Now it seems to be a possession battle here right now with Wapakoneta controlling it so much.
So Wapak has dominated time of possession here in the 3rd quarter. Van Wert hasn't been able to get much going in the way offensively. Had a 3-and-out on their most recent drive, and their first drive of the half ended in a turnover. Here's Moyer swinging it around to Page once again on 2nd and long. Page breaking a couple tackles and is down at the 25-yard line as another flag comes out at the 35-yard line, and we're going to have holding again.
Yeah, I wondered if they were going to call Ryan Walter on that.
So backing up again.
I actually thought it was a good block out there, but the flag came from the other side, so maybe it wasn't.
So they'll walk this one, and it'll be 2nd down and 22, I think. Second down and 20.
That flag was thrown on the right side of the field, but totally unnecessary. The play went to the left side, and I don't know what the holding was. Must have been from an lineman. I didn't hear the number called.
So second down and a bunch. Andre Longsworth in there. Page complete. Once again, getting to the 30. No flags. So pickup of 12 on that play.
You know, you see more and more teams successfully just throwing that, 8 to 10 yard pass, that little short pass, whether it's a little curl or whether it's to the sideline, and so dangerous because, just put you in a spot where, you get, a lot of times you'll have second and short. In this case, a little different because of penalties, but, very tough to defend.
They've been seeing soft coverage there on Page these last couple of plays. Third down and 7. Moyer looking long once again. Pass complete. Stays in bounds. Leaps over his guy. Nice athleticism to dive into the end zone for a Binkley real estate touchdown.
Well, think about that. The tough part was first catching the ball. Second of all, trying to get it over a down player. And then thirdly, keeping his balance. And fourthly, the dive into the end zone.
Caden Page with some nice catches that were negated because of penalties and is rewarded there for the touchdown. It is a 34-7 lead. Lee Kinsler extra point forthcoming here for Wapak as the Redskins have turned it on here in quarter number 3. Lee Kinsler extra point is up and it is good. 35-7. Wapakoneta in control here in the third. Tonight's instant replay is brought to you by Rural First, the leader in rural lending. Rural First can help you live closer to what matters. And tonight's premier sponsor for the Wapak Redskins is Frost Roofing. Family owned and operated for over 96 years. Join the Frost family. They are an equal opportunity employer. Call 419-739-ROOF.
Well, Patrick, we talked about the keys to the game, and one of the biggest keys for Van Wert was don't give up the big play. And, that's hard to do. I mean, that's easier said than done, and even when that's your goal, you just can't do that in practice, Yeah. And that's been the story for the most part for Wapakoneta, is they've had the big play.
Wapakoneta with 5 touchdowns in this one, 3 of them big play touchdowns. The kick fielded by Xavier Kelly, and he'll take it out to the 26-yard line. So Van Wert out on offense again as Van Wert has let the grip on this one get away from them here in the third quarter.
Well, you're down 35-7. I mean, realistically, when you look at it, are you going to come back and win it? Probably not. You're not going to say that in the sideline, and you're not going to say that in the huddle. But
right.
What do you do offensively now? Do you try to get rich quick? Do you try to get the score? I don't think so. You try to just improve yourself. Let's finish as strong as we can.
Cowan receives the ball here on first down across the 30 to the 31. And that's where he'll be stopped. Picks up about 4 or 5 on that play. You still have things that you're trying to work on and improve upon as part of your game plan as well, I would imagine. You don't just chuck it and go to something else entirely
absolutely.
Different. Yeah.
Yep. You're still trying. Let's execute. I think that's one of the biggest things coaches look at is, your game is, late third quarter. We still need to execute because if we're going to win down the road, we have to be able to do that. It's a mindset.
Second down, Wise rolling out, throws this one, pass complete there to the 44. Cowan with the Lodex Jewelry first down. And I thought maybe he'd have some cramping.
Yeah, I think he did.
Shaking his leg out a little bit.
Great pass that time. On the run to his right side.
So that'll move the sticks for Van Wert as we are coming up on the final 2 minutes of this third quarter. Wapak with a 35-7 lead over Van Wert. The Cougars looking for something positive they can hang their hat on here. as we wrap up quarter number 3.
You know, we called Micah Collins' name quite a bit, throughout this game, and realizing that he is only a sophomore.
Yeah. And that one is a little high. Keaton Welch, the intended receiver on that play. Yeah, Cowan, a sophomore, 6 foot, 175.
And I mentioned, too, their offensive line is pretty young. So, they're just trying to improve week by week. And just as Wapakoneta, as Coach Moyer said, it's a grind. From week 2 on in the WBL, it's a grind. And you look at the improvement by some of the teams in the WBL over the last couple of years. And it's a hard conference to win.
Wise out across the 45, and indeed it is. And you look at Wapak, and for as long as they've been at or near the top of the WBL, the people that are around that are changing up. I mean, here we are halfway through the football season, and look, it's Wapak and Bath.
Yes.
Sitting atop of the WBL, undefeated.
I started my coaching career in the WBL years ago, and although it was in basketball, but I always maintained, you see very little movement like you do in other conferences, people in, people out. They're community schools, and it's so good to see.
Interception. Wise looking in a different direction and gets it picked off. Bringing that one in is Ryan Walter. Second turnover of the night for Van Wert. Here's a look at it.
And I know Wise would love to have this one back. You could tell almost when he let go of it, he shouldn't have. I think he realizes that. He was throwing that into a lot of traffic.
It's very difficult moving one direction, throwing to the other direction. Yeah. And it is another turnover, so Wapak once again with the football around the 41-yard line. Wonder if they'll take a shot here.
Well, I think they'll do their best to try to put this out of reach.
Moyer,
there you go.
Looking long, takes that shot, pass complete. Out to the 14-yard line. Once again, it is Stauffer for the Lodix Jewelry first down in the Owls Woody's Diner red zone.
I think, he had the defensive back turned around.
Cohen Bragg was in there defending.
Just couldn't see it. I think he thought he was going to hesitate and go further and didn't turn. And
final seconds of the third quarter is Wapak looking for one more score. This one will be caught and immediately hit is Stauffer at the 9-yard line, so he'll pick up a couple yards, and that will bring the third quarter of action to a close. Final 12 minutes of what will likely be a running fourth quarter, 35-7. Redskins on top here on WOSN. Tonight's Red Zone sponsor is Al's Woody's Diner, Wapak's best place for pizza, wings, subs, and burgers. Call 419-738-9111. Tonight's fourth quarter sponsor is B&B Auto Repair. Rely on Van and his team of expert technicians to provide excellent service. Call 419-738-8090 for all your auto repair needs. Fourth quarter ready to get started here from Mercy Health, Wapak VFW Field. It is a 35-7 lead for the Redskins over the Van Wert Cougars. Patrick Kamler, Jerry Snodgrass here in the booth with you, and Wapak turning it on here in the third quarter. Had a 14-7 lead at half. They have extended that lead to 35-7 and looking to turn the lights out, so to speak, here in the early part of the fourth quarter on Van Wert.
Patrick, they say defense wins championships, and I think, yes, it does. But, boy, when you've got the guns that Wapakoneta has, they're so tough to stop.
And some early movement there on the line as I think that will back up Wapak 5 yards.
But you've got Ryan Walter, you've got Grant Stauffer, you've got, you've got Mason Ludwig, on the line there. But you've got so many guns out there. Grant Hauser at 6'6", 235. He's a target.
Yeah, Wapak just with so many weapons, and we feel like we've said that quite a bit over the last few years. It just seems like Wapakoneta has just had a number of guys in all positions and have been really able to put this offense consistently together.
Well, I think that's something Coach Moyer and his staff has done, is developed such a good program all the way through. Kids want to play. Kids grow up wanting to play.
Moyer with time once again is just going to take off. Gets a couple of yards, goes out of bounds at the 12-yard line. And, credit to the Wapak offensive line tonight. We haven't talked about them up front, just been more subtextually, but Moyer has had all day to throw back there. The offensive line has really won the battle in the trenches tonight.
Yeah. That's one thing. I always try to say something about linemen. They get very little praise, but when they take pride in what they do, they know that they're in the trenches. They know they're not going to get the headline, but they also know they're a key to the whole success of a team.
And that offensive line has been dealing with a guy who is 6'2", 485 there in the middle of that Van Wert defensive line.
Yes.
So I don't know if that gets you extra stickers on the helmet, but I think it should. That pass is incomplete, guarded by Van Wert, and also one of the structures here at the football field, at least from our camera vantage point.
Well, that brings up a 4th down, so still can get a 1st down. Got to get to the 2, I believe. 2 or 3 yard line.
Yeah, indeed. The flag is there at the 2-yard line. So it looks like they are going to go for it. Ethan Eisert has only attempted 1 field goal this year. And here we go, 4th and 12. Moyer rolling out, looking, just going to put this one up, and the pass is caught, but incomplete.
He's out of bounds.
Page, I don't think, controlled it by the time he stepped out of bounds. So turnover on downs.
Even though he only has to get 1 foot in, I still don't think when he caught it. Like you said, he knew it, though. He knew it.
Yeah. I don't know that he controlled it when he went out of bounds. Maybe if he had controlled it and had that foot in. In any case, it's ruled incomplete, and Van Wert comes up with the defensive stop. So the Cougars will come back out with 11:42 to go, and much like we said on the last drive, you're still looking to execute. You're still looking to take some things that you can look at positively when you review the film on this one later this week.
Yep, you want to execute. You don't want turnovers. You want to try to work on what you do and do it well.
So pickup of 3 on that play. That'll bring up 2nd down. So Van Wert is going to lose their 4th straight game. It will be their longest losing streak since 2016, which was it was a period of Van Wert football that I'm sure a lot of fans would prefer not have brought up, and I won't.
Right.
Simply to mention that this is the first time they've lost 4 games in a row since that particular time period.
And it's tough. I mean, you look at some of the teams that, you look at Bath, who's been down. And all of a sudden they're back up. It takes time, especially when, the other part of that is, too, when you're playing 9 games in your league, that makes it extra tough.
Yep.
You look at some schools that, have 2 and 3 non-conference games, and, there's some flexibility there. You're typically not scheduling, it depends who you are, but, you're not scheduling that toughest team in America, to play. Right. And, you have some flexibility to build some confidence. Coach Moyer said it best. He said after, week 2 on is a grind.
Yeah. You don't take conference games lightly regardless of who's on the other side. And, something that we've mentioned, and you've mentioned it in the process of this broadcast, is it's different every year. It's different who is at the top of the WBL. For a long time, it was Kenton.
Right.
Kenton was the big bad of the WBL, and every time Kenton was on your schedule, you're like, oh boy, this is going to be a really tough game. And it's cyclical as it is in all these cases, and it's always a challenge,
right,
regardless of who you're putting up.
Sometimes you think, well, it's never going to change. You have these teams that are just dominant. Well, they do change. I remember the Delphos St. John's, and they're one of the best coach programs that I know. I really mean that. And they went through a run, Coach Schulte was one of them that coached during that run that, I never thought they would lose a state tournament. Well,
right.
They're down right now,
yeah,
and that happens. And that's why I praise our coaches for what they do. We're in a winner. Win is everything. And, yeah, you play the game to win. I get that. But at the same time, it's not just a coach's fault, when you don't.
Wise brought down for the loss there on third down. Will make it fourth down coming up as the pressure there from Wapak just too much. Wise not able to get rid of it, and it'll bring up the punt. And, you mentioned Delphos St. John's, and, again, along with that run that they had in the late 90s, you think, man, they won 57 games in a row.
Yes.
Who's ever going to come up against that?
Right.
Marion Local can break that this
true.
year. And it's just amazing how these cycles go, which I suppose is something for
good punt.
I know it is a good punt. Something for Marion Local fans to be aware of. That's really all I'm saying.
Too, I had the, great fortune of, working with schools all over the state of Ohio, and so often, I remember going to Shadyside once, who had their own success in football through the years. Yeah. But I remember going there, and, when the world was bigger and the internet wasn't as big as it is today and social media wasn't as big, and I remember their coach or their athletic director, I remember him asking me at a meeting, he goes, how do they do it over there? And I said, you just have to be there. It's a community thing. The expectations are to be good people, work hard. It's not that they practice 10 hours a day or anything like that. And I think we're blessed with that in Northwest Ohio. I will tell you that.
Andre Longsworth with the carry on that play. And you've been affiliated with the OHSAA. You were head of the OHSAA for a number of years. You've gone around. You've seen a bunch of different schools. You've seen a bunch of different programs. And you've seen this a lot. It's more than just when you have a successful team and you have a run like Wapak has had, like Marion Local has had, like Coldwater has had. It's more than just, hey, we're really good on the football field. There is a community that comes around and supports this football team.
That is so true, and I think that's where, when we say that, what sports builds, sports builds character, it builds good citizens. That is so, so true, and I think it just passes down from one generation to the next. Driving in here today, an hour and 20 minutes before the game, see people walking down the street, in red and white. You see the band out there practicing. You see the food trucks, and and I can tell you this: football is very good in Ohio. I mean, compared to the other states, I know those other states, and football is good in the state of Ohio.
Indeed it is, and I will say, too, having covered other areas of the state in terms of football, this area is extremely blessed with how good the football teams are and how supportive the communities are, because
That's
you
correct.
don't have this in a lot of other places. I can't speak much outside the state of Ohio, but in other places of the state, you don't have this. The football team playing on a Friday night is not the event like it is, here in Wapak, for example.
Right. Well, I think one of the biggest things is when you look here, you might look at, let's just take Mason Ludwig, offensive tackle for Wapakoneta. People in the community know who Mason Ludwig is. You go to some of the bigger communities, they're not that connected to them or their families. And I think that's what brings out, community sports. And by the way, it's more than just football. It's the volleyballs. It's the soccer that's grown so much in Northwest Ohio.
Here's Longsworth with a carry, entered into this drive, gets across the 30. Will bring up a third down and long for Wapak as they are moving towards their fifth victory of the season. And, something I don't want to get too far away from football specifically, but you and I have seen this with basketball, where we've covered teams from this area, and they went down to, well, Dayton now, but they're down in Columbus, and you see the communities.
Oh, yeah.
You see the support in these areas that you don't necessarily see in the other areas. And I will mention Pickerington because I went to Pickerington Central, and the support there was not what it was for, say, a much smaller school with a much smaller fan base that was in this area.
Well, you talk about it, we used to talk about it when we were at the state tournament, and, with some of these communities that would come, last one out of town, turn off the lights, because
exactly,
that's exactly what, and regardless of sport. I mean, you look at the Shelby County area and you look at this area in volleyball, the MAC. I mean, it's just incredible the support they give. And 20 years ago, who'd have thought that? For volleyball. I mean, I remember as an athletic director, covering volleyball games, and, who thought it would grow like that? My concern, I will tell you this truthfully, my concern is, the increase in youth sports and the cost associated with that, of how so many people are being priced out of that. And that, you know what I mean, the costs of that, and the demands, and nobody's ever going to say publicly, I can't afford it. I mean, they're not going to do that.
Sure.
But people drop off because of that. And I think we're seeing that in a lot of the bigger cities.
Longsworth out to the 25-yard line. There's a penalty on the last play that backed Wapak up quite a bit. Make it 1st and 15, now to 2nd down and a little bit more manageable of a 7 to go in this one. And that element of youth sports that you mentioned, the affordability of it, and then also, and I've heard this from other parents in other school districts, where you hear so much that these kids get started so very young playing a particular sport, they play it, and there's no off season, there's no break, and by the time they get to 7th and 8th grade, when they're about to hit the field or hit the court for high school, they're done. Their parents are done. They're done. They're tired of it. They want to move on to something else.
I could do an hour talk show on, I know that I'm probably one of the few that believe this, but, I think it's incumbent upon the schools, I think, and their representatives to control that year-round stuff a little bit. You know what I mean? In terms of football anymore, is year-round. I mean, you've got more time. You essentially have spring football now with stuff starting in May. Season starts, practices start now in July. I saw the advent of that, from years ago when I was on a board that said we weren't going to do that. And I'm not criticizing anybody. I'm just saying that I think we have to keep our eyes and ears open on that.
Patrick Hamler and Jerry Snodgrass here solving the world's problems, at least in terms of sports. Longsworth with a drive outside, pick up a couple additional yards that'll bring up 4th down. And, and again, it's not, we don't want to take away from people's fun and the benefit that sports does have overall. And you and I have been involved in sports in various capacities for most of our lives, I would imagine. But there is something to be said for moderation to a certain extent, to making sure that, because the last thing you want to do is really, you don't want to kill a young man or a young woman's zeal for what they're doing by the time they hit 8th grade or a freshman in high school, and they're like, I'm tired of this. I've been playing, volleyball or soccer or whatever it is for 6 years now, and I'm tired of it.
Yep, I think that's one of the things. I think, you look at a lot of places, and you look many places. You look at, especially you take girls basketball, for example. JV teams are a dying breed. Freshman teams that used to exist, I know at Findlay we used to have we had 3 freshman teams. You have 1 now. I mean, I think we need to look at why. Is there more? Are there more things to do? Maybe that's part of it, and that's okay. But again, like I said, I hate to see it all go away. And at the 4-minute mark, we're solving world peace. So stay tuned. So. So, but
we'll take live questions next time. See what we can. I know there's a presidential election coming up. What can we do to solve the problems that our country is facing? Here, Van Wert forcing another turnover on downs. Cowan taking the ball into the 33-yard line. Van Wert defense has done a nice job slowing down the Wapak attack here in this 4th quarter. Redskins unable to add to their 35-7 lead. So the Cougars having a few positive things to hang their hat on, but this night has belonged to Wapak overall here on homecoming night. Also want to mention Grant Hauser, homecoming king, mentioned that a little earlier. Carter Weber, the homecoming queen this year. So congratulations to King and Queen.
Well, that's the other thing, too. If you're Van Wert, let's finish strong.
Here's
nice
finishing
run.
strong.
Wow.
Wise defense and breaks one. If he beats the angle, he's home and gets across for a touchdown. A Binkley real estate touchdown as Wise breaks that one open for 72 yards.
And breaking it open is right. Look at the tackles. Look at the tackles that he got through.
Way to hang with it. Gets across, and it's the second touchdown of the night for Van Wert, as they are a Lee Kinsel extra point away from at least getting to 14 points.
And you know what? That's not a meaningless touchdown either. That is something, again, if you're Van Wert, finish the game strong. And that's exactly what they're working on doing right now.
Lee Kinsel extra point is good. 35-14, Wapak will be back. Tonight's game is brought to you in part by Wright State University Lake Campus. Whether you're interested in an associate or bachelor's degree, Wright State University Lake Campus offers something for you. Visit lake.wright.edu to apply today. And tonight's instant replay is brought to you by Rural First, the leader in rural lending. Rural First can help you live closer to what matters. Van Wert, 72-yard touchdown run by the quarterback, Briston Wise. 35-14, Wapak still in command of this one, as we are getting ready to get the final 4 minutes of this one to bed, as these teams will move on, as Van Wert back at Eggers next week as they will take on St. Mary's. Meanwhile, Wapak will stay here again at home, and they will host Shawnee as the WBL grind continues for both sides. Here's some shifty moves here on the kickoff as Bryson Pack making some guys miss out to the 46-yard line. Covered about 30 yards at least north-south and about 20 more east-west. We take a look at the Rural First replay of this one.
Gets away again.
That run was impressive. I'm also kind of impressed there is no holding call.
Yeah, no kidding.
Play. It's a lot of movement back and forth from one side of the field to the other.
Well, there's a great block on that other side by Noah Bishop. 5'8" junior. Did a great job of walling off so he could get a couple more yards out of that.
Travis Moyer giving instructions to his charges as they take the field with 3:41 to play.
I remember Travis Moyer when he was at Winford High School over around Bucyrus and did such a great job there, and I knew he would do great things here.
Longsworth picks up a yard on that carry. I had a chance to sit down with Travis Moyer shortly after he became the coach of Wapak, and was able to talk to him about, he had success at Winford, as you mentioned, and really felt confident that he could bring a lot of the same things that made Winford successful here. And, his 10th, I think 11th season actually here at Wapak by now. And it's really hard to argue with the success that the Redskin football program has had since he's come here.
Correct. They're the one to beat. And again, a long way to go yet in the season, but at the same time, when you're starting off 4-0, it's pretty good.
First timeout of the second half called by Wapak, a side rail timeout. We will take it as well. 2:57 to go in this one. Wapak 35, Van Wert 14, and we'll be back. Tonight's timeouts are brought to you by the Side Rail in Wapak, featuring signature burgers, appetizers, large portions, and specialty drinks. Open 7 days a week on Augley Street and online at thesiderailrestaurant.com. And tonight's scoreboard sponsor is Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken in Lima, Wapak, Delphus, and St. Mary's. Call Lee's for all your catering needs. Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken, where home style happens. I almost no wonder I leave these games hungry.
Yeah, no kidding.
And off on first down is number 32, Caleb Wakuff, enters the contest, 5'11", 170-pound sophomore. As we'll see some new faces and numbers come into this one for the final 236.
These are big times for the second teamers and things like that, that they get to play, and they're to them, they want to score. They want to do their job. They want to prove that they might be next in line.
Say they want to get more time eventually and be ready for when their number is called. Quite literally, here's Gage Vaughn, freshman, with a couple of yards there. I want to thank our terrific crew here at this one. Wayne Getz, our director, Derek Henry, Kelsey Beimer, bringing you the sights and sounds of this one. Thank you so much. Kelly Getz also back in mission control, making sure this one gets on the air for you. After all, we have the easy job. We just get to sit here and watch football and talk about it. Everyone else is connecting things and putting things together and sending it back and making sure it gets on the air.
I had one trip up the steps here at a very steep stadium. They had several.
Yes, they did.
And that alone.
While carrying stuff.
Yes.
There's walk-off again. No, I'm sorry, that's Dylan Hartzog.
Good run. Good hard run by Hartzog.
So a number of guys getting a look here in the Wapak backfield. Many years ago, I was on crew here. I did that for 1 year, and after that, I said, I think I would rather do play-by-play. Is it possible that I could do this? And so far, they've agreed. 15 years later, so as long as that train keeps going, they'll down it here and run out the final minute of this one. We'll announce a Stolly Hustle Award winner at the conclusion of this contest tonight, as Van Wert and Wapak wrapping up. Wapak on their way to 5-0 this season. Van Wert will fall to 1-4, still looking for that first WBL win. So we'll have one more kneel down, and that will do it as the teams approach midfield. Wapakoneta emerges victorious here at homecoming. They defeat Van Wert 35-14. We'll be back to wrap this one up when we return here on WOSN. Ring the bell. Wapak wins 35-14. Time for our Stolly Hustle Award winner. Check out highlights of tonight's Stolly Hustle Award winner on the WOSN YouTube page. Our Hustle Award winner tonight, Wapak's Caden Page, 6'2" junior, making a lot of things happen. Had one of the touchdowns, one of the more impressive hustle touchdowns that you'll see in a contest. Page is our Hustle Award winner tonight.
And I think not only that, but at the timing of that, this was a 14-7 game at halftime, and that kind of blew the game wide open for them, which they sorely needed at that time.
Page was really kind of a safety valve there for a number of drives, and was just a guy that Caleb Moyer could find pretty faithfully to keep drives going, move the ball down the field, and eventually get them the 35-14 win. As we wrap up things here from Mercy Health Wapak VFW Field, I'm Patrick. He's Jerry, wrapping this one up here, and it was a competitive game to start out. Wapak really asserting themselves in that third quarter, pulled away. Van Wert added a touchdown late, but it was really Wapak from the third quarter on.
Yeah, you look early on, the drives that Van Wert sustained, didn't get points out of it early, but again, sustained drives and did a lot of what they wanted. They just couldn't stop the big play, and that's hard to do with Wapakoneta.
Wapak with a number of touchdowns, I think 4 touchdowns that were plays of 40 yards or more, contributing to their effort tonight. So Wapak stays undefeated. 35-14, they win over Van Wert here on homecoming. And that is going to wrap up our coverage of this game tonight. For Jerry Snodgrass and our entire WOSN staff, I'm Patrick Hamler saying so long, everyone, from Wapakoneta.